Hi there and welcome to Polyphonic Tarot. Today we're going to be doing a relationship reading. The querent's question is basically whether or not she should continue investing in this person or if this is something she should let go of. So I've already pulled significators and shuffled and done all of that stuff so we can start right away. I didn't know the birth date of the person that you're interested in, so I just used the Knight of Cups to represent someone, as in just to represent someone who is someone you're romantically interested in. So the Knight of Cups works for that. So right away, bottom card is Lust. This is a good start. So we're going to see what else comes up for you, and of course we go back and forth. Crossing you, Five of Pentacles, Five of Discs. Crossing him, Four of Discs. Crossing you, Chariot, Two of Discs. I am using the smaller cards just because that way we can fit all of it. Nope. This goes here. I say that, and of course now I have no room. Okay, so there's sort of a lot going on here, but this is what I'm getting. You, for the most part, you don't feel particularly confident about this relationship and the prospects of this relationship. You have a lot of self-doubt here, and you are lacking in confidence. I don't know that you really believe that you can either attract him or I don't know, there's some rupture in your confidence level here. And you are afraid of getting hurt because you have the Five of Swords in your past, which is pretty indicative of the fact that you have some painful baggage from previous relationships that is making you feel a little less sure of yourself. And I think unnecessarily so. But because I think at the same time, the Chariot, I think indicates that you have been able to survive these things, but there is this sense of defenselessness about you with the Chariot being in the obstacle position. So I just think that you feel kind of vulnerable here, and perhaps for that reason you're afraid to really initiate anything or take your chances in any way without really knowing what the real story is. So, on the other hand, he is not like that at all. He is in a position. He's in a very secure position, actually, and he's very. I take it that this guy is single and is very okay with being single and having options in front of him. Honestly, I don't know that he's really ready to settle into anything at the moment. I don't think that that's really what he's looking for. He's also either he's coming out of some kind of relationship already that was really good, that was really sweet and loving. I don't know if he was previously married or something like that. But he has the Six of Cups in his past, which is basically the total opposite of what you're bringing from your past. The Six of Cups is just so much more benign and is just about either some kind of sexual or romantic relationship that he's holding on to from his past that is informing his current situation, and either he already has someone that he's still kind of hooking up with or something, but either way, there's a big sense of independence coming from him because there's so much of the sun in his cards. He has the sun in 3 of his main cards, so that really tells me that he has a very solar energy here. He's very independent, very much about himself, and possibly a little selfish in a way. possibly not the type of guy that you may be really looking for if you are afraid of being hurt, because this guy does not seem to be at this stage in his life. He doesn't seem to be looking for anything really profound, honestly. He's very hopeful for his future in relationships. Also, he just feels like he has a lot of opportunities in front of him, and that things are really open for him, and he feels very secure. To be perfectly honest, so and that's not really where you're at. So you're in very different places emotionally. So I don't know that how putting the two of you together in a situation would work. Now, at the same time, that kind of fire and water combination can be really powerful, and can be a source of real dynamic magnetism in a relationship. And you do have lust on the bottom of your deck. So I do think that there is something there. I do think that there is an attraction there. And possibly, the alternative way of reading the Six of Cups that I forgot to mention is that possibly, this is someone that you yourself have had some kind of previous relationship with of some kind, and perhaps even he's someone who has hurt you in the past in some way. I don't know if that's the case, or if those are separate incidents, or what have you, but the one thing that's really clear is that the two of you are coming from very different spots in life, very different experiences in your relationships in the past, and what you're looking for currently is just very different, and that's okay. That's totally fine. But it is creating a kind of, I want to say, a kind of wall between the two of you physically. Um, Adjustment is describing your physical relationship with him, and for me that just speaks of like keeping this kind of formality between you, and trying to keep things very fair and balanced, and um, with that comes a sort of coldness. Honestly, Adjustment as Libra is not really all that feeling, even though Venus does rule her. Um, Venus here is more the beauty of perfection, and perfection is kind of rigid, So again, I don't think that there isn't attraction there. Again, Venus being some kind of attraction, but I just think that either I do think it's you. Honestly, you're more of a source of trying to keep that protective barrier of formality, or whatever it is, um, and also that sort of uncertainty that you have as to whether or not this is something you should pursue. That uncertainty is just sort of keeping things kind of stuck, honestly, between you physically. And I get the sense that he is kind of a physical kind of guy. In relationships, he has a lot of earth in the center of his situation, um, and yeah, it's very solid earth. And um, the four of and honestly, the four of discs can represent like sturdiness and physical attractiveness and well-being and health and that sort of thing. um, that's just something that I can sometimes also see in the four of discs. But anywho, um, let's see. So now, where the two of you are going in the future here, um, you are looking towards building yourself and or building a relationship. I think you're looking for the three of discs right now. That's where you're headed. And that's sort of what you are starting to aim for. So what that means is you are interested in building something very real with someone. You want to invite someone into your life. You want to eventually, really move in with someone and bring them into your family. And really create something tangible and long lasting. Whereas he is headed towards this odd Seven of Wands thing. And honestly, in relationship readings, Seven of Wands, almost without fail, in my experience, has come to represent like desperation and just real like crying for attention. Honestly, through pursuing people romantically or sexually or otherwise. Um, so that is a possible uh, turn that he might make here in the future. You know, as his honestly as his confidence perhaps whittles down. I don't know. The other aspect of this too that I haven't mentioned that is odd, you know, rather that we haven't talked about yet, is the Ten of Swords he has for what he is looking for right now and what he really wants out of the relationship with you, um, and what you want out of the relationship here. Um, I don't know that again. You know, the Ten of Swords is not particularly favorable, honestly, for that. Um, if there is some kind of past thing between you guys, then he feels like it's just time to like let it go and move on from there. And then in that case, maybe the sort of blockade between the two of you is coming from both sides. You know, it could be, and that very much could be the case. Because just either way, the Ten of Swords is just he's not looking for anything permanent, and possibly he is more if he is coming out of some kind of relationship with anyone, you know, there is perhaps more hurt that he has to deal with himself, you know, in the same way that you have to deal with your own baggage too. Maybe he has his own and he's trying to distract himself and stay positive by trying to celebrate his singlehood and you know, seeking out, you know, sexual whoever he wants, really, you know, pursuing whatever, trying to explore that freedom and celebrate that, but ultimately it may turn into something kind of ugly for him. So again, um you know, since we do want to make protecting you here a really important aspect of this, you know, this guy just seems too volatile right now for you. I don't think that you're going to mesh up with him really well at this time, you know, and that's not to say that maybe somewhere down the road you couldn't eventually come to a better equality of understanding and place, you know. Uh, but as of right now, this is not particularly positive for that for you guys to come together in any way. Um, Now, continue since we haven't finished these. So we talked about physically adjustment. Emotionally, there's the Eight of Cups, also not particularly great, or not emotionally, mentally. We do physically, mentally, and spiritually. So mentally, excuse me. Mentally, I just think that also you're going to be kind of bored by him, honestly, after a while. I think he seems more interesting now than he may actually be, honestly. There's just a sense of dullness about it. And possibly the dullness may come from the lack of physical, like flirtation or stimulation or anything. You know, as long as that's on freeze, perhaps that's also making making your more personality oriented aspect of the relationship, you know, the conversation, the mental aspect, uh, it's just not really going anywhere right now, honestly, and it feels really heavy and just unhappy. And really that is being affected by adjustment. You know, they both have Saturn in them, and I think of the people who are well, you know, to be honest, I was going to say, you know, you're a little more Saturnine here with the amount of baggage that you're bringing in here, but he also has some Saturn in his reading too, you know, so it isn't all just sun and roses here for this guy. You know, he does have some Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And of course, Saturn, Capricorn, and Jupiter in the Two of Discs is not really a great combination. But he does also have some Saturn in the Star as well. And of course, we can't ignore the real bleakness of the Ten of Swords. I mean, it's hard not to. So you know, it's not entirely just you. but I think just either conversation wise, or I don't know, there's just a lot of antipathy, um, and just not really enough to for either of you to get interested in. Again, because you want something, you're looking to really make something and build something and grow something very real, and you want someone who has, I think, established themselves really and are a little more settled than this guy. And honestly, this guy, it's weird because on one hand he has the Four of Discs, which would make you think that he's in a settled position or in a settled state. But honestly, his problem is the Two of Discs, which tells you that despite whatever idea of stability he may be giving off or communicating to others or himself, he ultimately is kind of going through quite a bit of transition right now and really is in a state of flux. Like nothing is really solid for this guy right now. Um, so there is that. Now, spiritually, this is the card that really makes the whole thing kind of interesting because it does have some flexibility and interpretation. But what I get the sense of from this is that the if this is a someone that you have to make amends with in some way, either you need to forgive them for something in the past. Again, I don't know if this is someone that you have had a previous thing with. If that is the case, then I think the Four of Wands there is telling us that we need to close this chapter. We need to we need to complete it. It needs to it needs to be the situation needs to be made up. You need to make up and just forgive that person or what have you. Now, if that is not the case, if this is someone totally new or whatever, this is kind of an interesting thing. The Four of Wands, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure how it is registering with me right now. But I think spiritually, as far as your wavelength is concerned, how you really match up with someone. Again, I keep getting this sense that um, there is some chemistry between the two of you, and I don't know. It's hard to ignore that vibe just from the real strength of lust on the bottom of your deck. And I think he does have solar energy in him, which does really resonate with lust, and that resonates with you because that's what you want. What we want, what we did. I don't know if we talked about this actually. Come to think about it, the Emperor as your card of what you are looking for out of the relationship. Primarily, what is it that you desire to get out of this? We talked about him with the Ten of Swords, but for you, the Emperor is just saying you want a man in your life. You want someone to partner yourself with. You want that support that a partner like that can give you, and you want someone very solid. And so in some ways, this guy is understandably attractive to you because again of that sense of stability that he is seemingly giving off, and he is confident, and he does have that air of masculinity that is appealing. Um, but he's just so shifty, and I don't know that he's really sure of exactly what he wants right now either. Again, that Ten of Swords is just, there's so much confusion and dissipation in that concept that it's really hard to say what exactly he is looking for in the relationship, particularly since he is trying so hard to focus right now on that star mentality, that feeling of, limitless possibility in front of him. So, to get back to the Four of Wands there, it does resonate a bit with the Emperor and with adjustment through Venus. It also resonates with the Five of Wands, I mean the Five of Swords in your past, which is kind of interesting. Also with the Seven of Wands over here. These two are very different concepts. Um, very different concepts, actually. But these two concepts are not. And again, I think that they have something to do with um, closing up whatever wounds you are still recovering from, you know. Because again, it's affecting your judgment, and it's affecting your self-image too. I just think that you are kind of looking down upon yourself lately, especially as far as your attractiveness. I think that you just are not feeling um, as as yeah, just as secure as you should be, you know. And again, someone else who is more secure in their situation isn't going to make you secure in your situation. And here, I think it's really showing you the danger of investing in someone that doesn't really have that stability that you are looking for. So I think before you can really look to pursue someone, we need to get that fixed for you first. And I think when you do, um, and you are able to embrace yourself a little bit more here, I do think that that's going to make a difference for you, um, pretty positively. I think you just need to see all of this negative stuff as being behind you, and you just need to sort of try to look at it the same way that he's trying to look at it. In some ways, I think he's getting a little crazy about it, but for the most part, I don't think trying to look on the bright side in bad situations is a bad thing. So things to think about. Uh, the overall outcome is the Prince of Cups. Now, this is interesting to me because what I get from this is that this is someone totally different that is eventually going to come into the situation, and that this person that you are currently thinking about is not who you are likely to end up with. Um, the Prince of Cups, I get the sense that it's a different person, especially because I was not really sure of the significator for for your significant other. So I'm not really registering the fact that the Prince of Cups is related to the Knight of Cups representing him. It doesn't have to be here, because we really just picked the Knight of Cups out of convenience. Now the Prince of Cups. The Prince of Cups, if it does represent, the overall outcome for the situation, then as far as being connected more to him, if it does have more to do with him, then it just means that he, in the long run, is going to be kind of silent about all of this, and is not likely to reveal much about his intentions or desires to you anytime soon. And again, there is an air of danger about the Prince of Cups, just because one never really knows what he's thinking about. So I don't. Whatever the Prince of Cups represents, I am a little worried about him, and I don't really trust him. The more I look at it, the more it does make sense if that does represent him. Since it doesn't really resonate with you at all, it really just doesn't. It resonates more with him. And again, it's because he's looking more for a good time, I think, honestly. I just don't think that whatever he tells you is going to be quite right for a while. So again, maybe I might even be wrong about the down the road thing, that this might be someone you eventually still want to pursue. Honestly, this guy is not screaming to me, go for it or anything like that. I personally, I don't trust him entirely, and it's not because I think he's a really terrible person or is a real a-hole, but I just don't think that his mentality is really great right now for anything like a relationship either. Um, or even flirting with someone who really, I think, just needs to have someone who's much more grounded right now. I really think that that's the better type of person for you. You know, trust is a big thing for you, clearly, and I totally get that too. I mean, I have I have trust issues myself, but you know, I do think that someone a little more sturdy and a little more stable is going to be better for you. All right, so that's about all I've got. I believe here for you today. It could be worse. It could be much worse. Uh, you know, it really could. And I hope it's not disappointing to you. And I hope it also makes sense and that it was accurate. Obviously, we hope that too. And whatever the case may be, I hope you found it helpful.